And I'm going to make you the host real quick, Bruce.
Sure.
So you can.
Yeah, and I do have the screens up now, the slides.
Okay, you should be host. Welcome everyone. Delighted to have you here today for this exciting program webinar and our open house in this kickoff webinar to discuss and share what we've been working on over the past several months. And yeah, let's jump right into it. Today's agenda, we'll be discussing about an introduction to the program and the online program details, the courses and faculty, the program schedule and admission schedule, a bit about the tuition and financial aid, and followed by an open discussion and Q&A. So we'll address questions afterward, and be prepared to jump into the conversation afterward. And we'll also send you a link to this recording afterward as well. So today's speakers will be myself and Daniel Tompkins, who's a faculty for Mars Agriculture, and he'll be available around 4:30 to discuss and join our conversation as well.
And Cole, Bruce MacKenzie may jump in from time to time if needed.
Okay, yes, go for it, yes. So here are the key details for this 3-week online program in Mars settlement and exploration. It'll be 3 weeks throughout the first 3 weeks of August. And we're gonna anticipate around 20 hours per week of live synchronous classes and in an interactive format with a lot of over 20 guest lectures, and we're tailoring this program so that working professionals can attend and contribute as well. And after the successful completion of the 4 courses that are each 1 week in duration, and they're all live, you'll earn a certificate in Mars settlement and exploration, and it's very exciting. Wish I have this grown up, but I guess it's here now, so amen. Here are the 4 course instructors and core faculty at MarsU for this program. I have Ilaria Sinelli. She's going to be teaching about the human factors in space operations course, and she'll be covering everything from space medicine to the human factors involved in the round trip Mars missions and the systems involved in space suits and all sorts of things related to human factors. And Daniel Tompkins, he's a faculty for Mars Agriculture, and he's preparing a really exciting curriculum, everything from hydroponics and the soil and a lot of exciting topics. He'll be here joining us later to speak more about his course. And there's Dr. Graham Law. He's the faculty for Mars Astrobiology, and he's really one of the leading experts on astrobiology related to Mars, and can't wait for his course as well. And Dr. John Clark, he's the faculty for Mars Geology, and he'll be covering a lot of the natural processes that occur on the planet and the climate and the geochemistry, and we'll also be hearing from most of them as well on our Meet the Faculty webinar toward the end of this month. Yes, and so we'll in that event, you guys can discuss and share conversations with these instructors as well. here's why we're unique. This is the first program, the first academic program dedicated specifically to Mars and toward making life multiplanetary. And I think we'll be joined by over 20 guest lecturers with accumulating in dozens of years of experience in just thinking about humans on Mars and life thriving on Mars. And so I think each student will really develop a well-rounded perspective about Mars settlement and exploration to really improve your mindset significantly about how well positioned and prepared our speakers currently is to create habitable environments. And then our faculty really stand out as well. And yeah, I think wish I could take this program with you, but so here's a program schedule. Mars 101 will be a pre-recorded module that each student can will be required to take before the first week in course in Mars geology. And week 2, there'll be 2 courses: human factors in space operations and Mars astrobiology. And week 3 will be Mars agriculture, and all sorts of guest lectures then with each course in between. Some slight background noise from Kyle over here. You meet yourself. Okay, and oh, skip one. Here's the admission schedule. We're really excited to open applications. I believe yesterday, and so applications will close in around 1 month, and shortly after that, you'll receive a letter of admissions and acceptance. This is a competitive program with limited small class sizes, and but that being said, I think each of you have an excellent chance at of contributing and attending in this program, and then we'll a 25% tuition deposit will be required shortly afterward, before the end of May. And this will help secure your seat in the program and also help directly improve the curriculum in course, so that we can pay the faculty and instructor ahead of time to really thoroughly develop each course. And then we'll jump into the program in August. Yeah. And well, before that, we also allow for rolling admissions if space and slots in the program permit toward the end of May and in early June, but time shall tell. And so the cost of the program is $800 US per course. So that comes out to $3,200 USD total for this certificate program. And so we're very much open to applicants and students coordinating payment plans. And by submitting your application, you're automatically eligible to receive a scholarship. And we'll be providing limited scholarships to help cover 25 to 50% of the program tuition. And our goal is to really help reduce the costs of this program for you, and to really help enable you to attend and enjoy your time in each course. And to conclude, we have two exciting upcoming events. I'm really excited for this one on fuel cells for water and electricity on Mars. It should be this upcoming Wednesday. It's approaching very fast. We can put links in the chat afterward as well. We'll hear from two key, the leading expert on fuel cells at NASA, Ian, and his colleague. And this is unrelated to the program, by the way, but it should be very insightful. And in the beginning of May, on May 1st, we're planning to host this Meet the Faculty webinar so that you guys can really engage on a deeper level with each course instructor. Yeah, I think it's a
hi, Cole.
webinar. Yes.
Yeah, Bruce MacKenzie here. So I put some of that stuff in the chat already, and I want to tell everybody that Nadine is on the webinar as well. He's is helping with administration. And if you want, I have deliberately muted everybody to avoid background noise, but if you want to talk, you can try to unmute. If that fails, type something in the chat.
Okay. Yeah. I think we can go ahead and unmute everyone.
Well, no. Enable unmuting. Would someone try to unmute and see if you can?
Yes.
There
we go. Awesome.
Yes, Nadine.
I did it too.
They're good.
Okay.
Thank you, Nadine.
You're welcome.
Awesome. And lastly, we're also planning to host another information session for the Asia and Australia time zone before the end of May as well. So look out for that. Yeah, and thanks a lot for listening and joining. We look forward to our discussion right now. And yes, we'd love to hear more about your reasons for joining this program and why you're here. And any questions you have in the chat, we can jump into that conversation.
Hello, I was wondering if there may be a more detailed syllabus for each of the courses provided at some point. I appreciate that many of the lecturers probably won't have yet prepared most of their materials, but is that something we can expect in the months to come?
Yeah, thank you, Ryan, and hello again. So the faculty for the first few courses are working on the curriculum now. But we also need to know that people are really interested and will be enrolling, and that enough people will be paying tuition. So I'm sorry, but curriculum are not available now. If anyone else wants to talk, I think you can unmute yourself.
Hi, this is Simon Lobdell. Are you anticipating any type of capstone projects to be coming out of this?
So not for this program itself. By the way, Mars University originally was going to be a summer program at MDRS in Utah, the Mars Desert Research Station. And we would have had small capstone projects. It was only going to be 5 weeks, but we would have had projects especially in the last couple weeks. The current online program, we're not anticipating a capstone or a major project. I'm hoping the program will grow and have higher level courses and research projects. Now that said, we are also accepting a limited number of people as we call them graduate researchers who may be not necessarily taking a course, but would be working on some research project, possibly helping teach a course. So contact us privately if you feel qualified to do research somewhat independently at the graduate level. Oh, and the email address is just info@mars.university. I'll type it into the chat periodically. And Cole, as I understand it, we had the Zoom link on the website, so there may be people who we don't have your address for. So Cole, how would you recommend that if anybody has not received email from us, how do you want them to contact us?
You can reach out to info@mars.university for any questions. Yes, that's a great point. We can answer any queries in there, and I did want to discuss, Kyle, it's a bit distracting over there with if you could either turn off your video or thank you. Awesome. Yeah, I think the graduate researcher positions and graduate assistant positions, it's a wonderful opportunity to help provide you with tuition discounts and scholarships. And so we'll be updating you guys on those opportunities coming forward as well. I don't know if any other questions in the chat or.
Hey, this is Allie speaking. How's it going? Thank you guys for putting this on, and wanted to ask more about the program and specifically after the program too. What are the larger goals for putting on the course? Like, what do you want to see happen because of it? And what are some of the things that you want to see, I mean, bigger dream wise, of the alum group moving forward? Like what kind of things do you see, programs or events or just general community networking or different projects going on? Like, what are some of the things that you guys have talked about behind the scenes and what you're thinking about for the future? Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Allie. Cole, do you want to give the intermediate view before I give the behind in the sky view?
Yeah, sure, something like that. Yeah. I think, Allie, that's a wonderful question. I think that as an alumni, I think you guys will be. I think there are a lot of really exciting opportunities that could be made available, and that would be made available, and whether that's research oriented or if it's like a graduate level research, or even like a if you'd be interested in teaching one day later down the road. I think there are definitely a lot of knowledge gaps on our team that we'd be looking to fill over the next few years. And I think that Bruce is going to jump into the some really other exciting projects potentially, but we can't read each other's minds.
Yeah. Well, Cole has heard me before. So certainly we want to add more courses as time goes on. And early on, we had discussions of starting with casual webinars and informal projects. But the faculty wanted to keep the standards very high. We never wanted anybody to think, oh, they're just a bunch of amateurs. So we want good quality academic courses and other things. I have a dream of, well, we also would like to move into a full graduate program, offering master's degrees and graduate level research. And someday, we might have a dream of an undergraduate and a master's and a PhD program. That takes a lot of money and a lot of faculty. So we don't, we're kind of too early to make hard plans on that. We would like to get accredited. Incidentally, if people need transfer credit or credit at your home institution, contact us privately. We have some suggestions, but the basic way you do it is look for a professor at your own college and say, I'm going to be taking this program. Here's the curriculum. Would you sign off for independent study for me to get credit at where I'm going to? You might have to pay extra tuition to your own institution. Okay, I have a really long-term dream of someday a satellite campus. Well, first a research station here on Earth, possibly in a desert, where we can do research on what it might look like, it'd be like to live and work on Mars. We're very much focused on Mars settlement, not just sending probes to Mars. I would someday like to see a satellite campus on Mars itself, and then other locations, other research stations throughout the solar system. With this COVID pandemic, a lot of people on Earth have gotten used to remote learning, taking classes via Zoom and webinars. But it's really hard to have an asynchronous class. That is where you do the work at home and send the work in. It's much better to have a real-time class where you're interacting with other people, even if that is remotely. However, when we actually have people living on Mars, there are going to be a lot of other people traveling around the solar system, maybe en route to Mars, maybe en route to an asteroid, and they're going to get really bored when they're on a Kolemann transfer to an asteroid, and they might end up taking classes or doing research or teaching classes while they are en route to Mars or an asteroid or back to Earth. And Mars University would have to become a specialist in what I call time-delayed learning. So it would be like Zoom, but different people would have different time delays, up to 40 minutes, even longer. So I could see Mars University growing into the specialist in time-delayed learning throughout the outer solar system. And that's my spiel. Thank you.
Yes, and two more really exciting projects. Bruce alluded to like a research analog station. That's we've entered into some discussions and conversations and about designing and building a Mars University research-focused analog station to really enable our alumni and students with hands-on experience of what exactly you would be doing on Mars, and really get that hands-on experience with the advanced materials that I think a lot of us are lacking, but we'd crave and desire. And then I think that as alumni, we would come to you guys to help lead your projects, and really I think there are a lot of exciting opportunities for alumni, and this would be the first class and cohort, and you guys would be the first alumni, which would be pretty damn cool as well. But not any other questions, we can jump into those. Thank you, Al. It's a long answer.
Coming from an agricultural standpoint, I'd say the long-term vision of Mars University could be a critical career transition and workforce development program, particularly addressing a lot of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. On Mars, you're incredibly power constrained, resource constrained, and you face a lot of the same limitations that we are challenged with here on Earth. So I think as far as being a networking capability and to fill those future needs, I think we could also become a critical institution.
Yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free to share your video and.
Yeah, so there are some questions in the chat, but Daniel, would you like to have the floor now or in a few minutes?
Yeah, I'll be able to jump on video in a couple minutes.
Okay.
If you want to take a few more questions.
So let me take some questions from the chat. Keith asked, are there available known full scholarships or grants? We certainly hope to have scholarships for anyone who needs them, and some of them might be full scholarships. However, we desperately need help finding grants. We're a very small team, and please contact us privately if you would like to help us with fundraising.
Yes.
And
I also wanted to elaborate more on we're very much willing to collaborate with you to help fund your the cost of this program for you. And so we can definitely work with you if you have a potential sponsor in mind. Reach out to us, yes.
So we might be able to help you to apply to a local company that would then get publicity that, hey, they're sponsoring somebody to go to Mars University. So contact us. Let's see. Nisha asked, can you take just one course or the whole program? Yes, you can just take one course. Daniel, correct me if I'm wrong. But we encourage you to sign up for all the courses. There will be 5 courses at one point. Let's see, the on-site component. So David asked, is the on-site component still scheduled? We are hoping to have an on-site multi-week program in the summer of 2022. The site is still undecided. We're in negotiations with a very excellent location for it, but we're still open. And if so, it would be multiple courses, some kind of group project, research projects, and some field trips as well. Most of the places we have considered are in the United States Southwest, Arizona, New Mexico, Utah, California type areas, but we're open to other locations. Cole and Daniel, add anything if you want.
Yes, the certificate would be awarded upon completing these core courses. But yes, we designed it in such a way so that they can be taken individually. Yep.
Yes, and to elaborate, I think that for the summer program, this in-person program is another really exciting program. And as a alumni, you would have the opportunity to, help establish this first in-person program, and then potentially also experience experience the program or part of the program yourself as a graduate assistant or researcher or academic coordinator, something along those lines. And so I think a lot of opportunities.
Duncan asked, how frequently do you plan to run the program? It depends on the interest and how often the faculty are willing. We have discussed maybe 4 times a year, but if there's a lot of interest, it can be even more frequently. Daniel, hi.
Hi, yes, Daniel Tompkins, faculty of Mars Agriculture. And yes, and going along with being able to enroll in one course, we are hoping to offer every course in August, January, and in the May, June time slot. Those seem to be around kind of the work calendar and academic calendar spots that will fit in nicely. And any other questions that we're pending?
I would have a question. Just put my camera on. Hi, how are you? I would like to interested in, like, I'm working in space research a while, so I'm one of the out of the twin study and working at NASA Gene Labs and doing surveillance, pathogen surveillance on ISS space station. So I'm a researcher. So I'm of course interested in teaching because sometimes I feel like I know so much and I would like to help. But the question is, what I like to know from you is in which direction you would like to go, in more in direction of engineering, or you're also interested in medical health, or like ethics, environment. What will be your portfolio for your university? Thank you.
I think to start with, on the exploration and sustainability of settlement and true self-sufficiency, we don't want this to be another, footprints and leave type of mission. So we want to address it from, a human health factor of sustainability. There are really amazing possibilities, on Mars that I think aren't as well communicated to the rest of the public, and there are challenges there. How those challenges can be addressed, and really rallying around the belief that this is something possible, and it's not, and there are a lot of benefits that can come back to Earth as far as pushing these boundaries and into how we can sustain life out in space, with all the limitations, right? You have no oil, you have no natural resources per se, right? They call it in situ resources, but they're very basic, and require processing for utilization of those. I personally like the term resource creation. And at the end of the day, if we can go to Mars and live self-sufficiently there, and pretty much everywhere on Earth we can live on, right? Mars is an extreme environment. It's extremely challenging, but if we can not just stay there in some perfect kind of $1 billion bubble, but also be able to expand there, that has not really been addressed much at all in industry or academic studies. And I think that is kind of the long-term vision of Mars University. But I think in the interim, right, there's all this overlap between Earth technology and human health on Earth. What's a diet like? Not just out in space, but what is the best diet here on Earth? For your particular microbiome, right, or your particular genetics.
No,
or environment.
I meant not human health on Earth. I'm working on astronauts, liquid pipes,
okay.
astronauts, only astronaut health. Sorry.
Yeah, so I guess those carryovers to Earth-based applications, what insight we can gain under these extreme environments, how can these be applied back to Earth-based systems as well? I think there's a lot to be gained.
Yes, and to expand on that real quickly before Bruce jumps in, Daniela. So our focus is definitely on the post-arrival activities of the of life and machines and robots, and our growth aligns with the knowledge gaps in the research and science, and then also our curriculum and programs we're offering. And so definitely both we're scaling toward both the engineering and medical side. It kind of depends on the interest from everyone, and Alaria is helping lead the biomedical side. So if you're interested, definitely let's discuss with her, because I'm also very involved in monitoring astronaut health, or interested in becoming very involved, I should say. And so we'd definitely be interested in discussing more with you.
Yeah, we have like organizations. We just found organizations called the ISSOP. It's International Standards for Space Omics Procedures. And also Gene Labs, we are data repository. We're collecting since 15 years data from ISS space station, and also ESA Space Omics typical team member. So another way, when you join us and just learn a little bit more about space omics standards, because what we try is I'm working since 3 years on establishing standards for space research, to make it comparable, and switched from NASA, ESA now to international level, because space is international. It's not a national issue there. So sorry, thank you so much.
So, Danielle, we go back to your earlier question. So most of the people involved in planning Mars University are very interested in permanent settlement, especially agriculture, the engineering, the use of resources, construction. But we recognize that the psychological, the social, the legal, the financial aspects are also critical. So we want to cover those areas as well. A lot of it depends on who is interested. I'm expecting a lot of people who sign up as students would be very interested in the current geology, climate exploration. So the uncrewed, not robotic exploration. But we may get a lot of other interest. I mentioned a remote research site that might look like a Mars settlement where we do that, but we could also get into isolation studies, medical, and much of what people would be thinking about and learning would be applicable to extreme environments on Earth, whether it's how to live and work in Antarctica, on the ocean, under the ocean, on a glacier, in a desert. So we recognize that most of the people who participate in the program will probably not go to Mars, but it'll be interesting and provide some an education that is sort of out of this world. Let me go on to another question. Kyle mentioned terraforming and first contact. Most of us who have been studying Mars think that it will be very difficult to terraform quickly. So terraforming is modifying the climate so that it's more Earth-like. Some of the experts do think that we will someday be able to melt the ice caps, increase the pressure, have enough carbon dioxide and water in the atmosphere that we can trap heat. I'm not saying whether it's possible or not. I'm just saying this is open for debate, and some people think it would be. However, no one has figured out an economic system to do that, to invest the money now to get a terraform Mars fast enough. So
one thing
keeps coming up, and we think, many of us think it'll be very, very far in the future, if at all. Go ahead, Daniela.
you said first contact, what that means.
First contact with an alien species. That is not the focus of Mars University.
Thank you.
It was just a question in the chat.
Hey, Bruce. I don't know what Kyle is doing here, but you're the host. Could you remove?
I do have a question.
Yes.
I need to know more about the muons. I understand in Idaho we had some pretty successful experiments. I want to know about that because that seems like a very specific Neil deGrasse Tyson step. And he told me I would get a vacation in Thule in Greenland. So I want to hear about the muons. I don't know what you guys, thank you for having me. I'm sorry. I'll go back to being muted and off video.
Yeah, Bruce, you're muted. But yeah, I think it'd be good to remove Kyle from this webinar. I'm sorry, Kyle, but maybe another time. Bruce, you're the host. But yes.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. We do want to be open to everybody, but Kyle was very distracting. Did anyone understand what word he was saying? He said the moons of Mars or the muons of Mars? Anyway, if he said moons, we certainly are interested in Phobos.
He was referring to muons, which was a recent, possibly interesting new physics discovery that's being investigated. Muons being a particle physics thing. I don't know. Okay.
Yeah. We are really only interested in the current state of Mars and the near future with existing or feasible technology. Near-term feasible technology.
I did hear brought up, more detailed course descriptions. We do have faculty lecture lists that are drafted up that we'll be sharing during the Meet the Faculty event, May 1st. And I can tell you, it looks really exciting. They're a bunch of very unique faculty members that have, in-depth industry and academic experience, and also, right, this really driving passion around Mars exploration. So we are programmatically kind of sequencing some of those and making sure that we can really connect the different lecture series. The idea is to really go from a very basic level of knowledge, because we are covering so many. It is a true multidisciplinary program where we're going to get people from a variety of different backgrounds. We're planning to start very basic and then accelerate very rapidly through to the current state of the art in all our different courses. There is, we're setting a template for the courses in which a portion of the final exam, if you will be project-based and or exam-based. So if someone feels more comfortable, they can kind of cumulatively pass the course with one or the other or both. It is currently to be kind of the most inclusive, particularly from an international standpoint. So that is currently the outline, and we aim to keep a pretty high standard, very challenging curriculum at the end, but Mars is challenging, right? So we want to instill confidence that these are achievable challenges. Here are the challenges, here are the opportunities, and here are how they can be met. So that in all these different kind of cornerstones of going to Mars, we can have a high level of confidence and a high level of interest in them.
Just one quick question, if I could, a bit more tactical about the actual course itself. It looks like it's there over a couple of week period, but 20 or so hours a week. So I'm assuming that's like 5 or so hours a day of curriculum or content that would be looking to be delivered.
Yeah, so the current format that we're going to try to keep consistent across all courses is 2 live faculty lectures and 1 guest lecture. And we're going to space those out approximately every 6 to 8 hours through the day. That way, internationally, we're not kind of excluding certain time zones. And we're going to strongly encourage attendance to 2 of those live lectures per day, just so that no one falls behind. And then we'll also have an additional 1 to 2 hours of independent reading. So on a daily basis, it will be about a 3 to 4 hour commitment. And then we will have faculty office hours for project-based portions and for exam reviews. And then kind of on an individual faculty and class basis, if they'll either complete the course that upcoming weekend, or possibly take a break by a week to finish up projects or take the exam if that's kind of a consensus. But the idea is to complete all the coursework within a week, possibly delay the project presentations and exam by a week after that.
Okay, solid, thank you. Is it fair to assume that like recordings may be available?
Yes. Sorry, yes, recordings will be available for all of them. So if one of the 3 live presentations a day cannot be attended, then you can view the recorded ones. Yes, so we're trying to be the most inclusive there from a time standpoint, but also wanting to encourage a lot of networking and discussion boards and kind of daily pace, keeping up daily on the curriculum and keeping it on mind.
Okay, solid, that's helpful, thank you. I'm sorry, 2 last questions, or really one, but bundled together.
Sure.
Is there a particular class for this initial course? Is there a particular class size that's a target for you? Like presumably you need a minimum amount, but is there an upper bracket of no more than a certain amount to get the engagement and networking, etc.?
Yes, exactly. For the first offering, we're limiting to 20 students per course. So we will probably expand that out to 30, but for the kind of inaugural offering, we'll be limiting it to 20, unless particular faculty think that with the students, we can expand that out by a few.
Okay, solid, thank you. And last one was, I know that you mentioned that at least for the initial, there wasn't so much of an intent to have like a capstone project or anything in that flavor. What kind of options or thoughts are there around the activities or projects or types of things that just facilitate and increase the interaction and collaboration and that kind of interaction rather than it just being a purely knowledge acquisition?
Absolutely. I think depending on the engagement from the professional community, if someone has a high level of expertise in, say, computational fluid dynamics, and they want to model how a greenhouse would work, right, for an agricultural course, that would be an excellent project to do. And we would hopefully, publish that off as a paper. So I think Mars University as an institution, that would be another thing, is both be a community as well. And be able to advance some of these elements to a higher degree where there really are significant knowledge gaps. And there are experts out there that want more context to be able to solve these challenges. So that's where we kind of fit in, I think.
That's super helpful. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Awesome. And we'll definitely read more, Daniela. Yes, it sounds exciting. And if there are any other questions we didn't miss, but if we missed any and haven't answered them, feel free to speak up. And
I just wanted to repeat that it would be good to have workshops and projects and capstones, but not in this initial offering of the program. So, and I want to thank a couple people for private messages. We will try to get back to you. I won't call you out by name.
And I also think the class projects can be arranged, and kind of overseen from each faculty and instructors. That's kind of up to their curriculum as well, as in terms of what they want to include.
From a time commitment standpoint, probably limited to about 6 to 9 hours for any project-based portion of it. I don't see it exceeding that time amount. So kind of like a hackathon for a project-based or a specific challenge that someone's undertaking. What would your diet look like on Mars? What would you eat? And then therefore, what would you have to grow, type of thing. Sounds like a simple question, but pretty challenging when you get down to it.
Here is the hello, Yvonne. Here's the link to the fuel cell seminar this upcoming week. If you want to register there, it should be eye-opening in terms of how the quantities of water that can be made available from current technology. And power and energy, yes. And we'll be sure to follow up with everyone as well with a recording link and slides. Yes. Yeah.
I will leave this Zoom session open a little while longer to capture any last minute chats. If you have a private comment or feel free to put it in the chat. And again, make sure we have your email address. Make sure that we have sent you a message in the past, or that you send us a message or give your email address in the chat.
Thanks everyone for joining today. It's great to share another conversation and meeting, and we look forward to hopefully receiving your application and joining this program. So ad astra, yes.
Bye, folks.
Thank you very much. Thank you.